Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to this new episode. This is going to be the first episode of my podcast, Matchday Preview and Review. Today we're going to talk about Matchday 1 in the Bundesliga 2. Now, you want to know why the podcast is called Matchday Preview and Review. Well, that is because I'm also going to be reviewing Matchday 2 of the Bundesliga 2, or Zweite Bundesliga in German. Now, the Bundesliga 2 is the only division to start its season this early, and hence the only division I'm going to talk about here until further notice. In future episodes, I will cover other second divisions as well as the first divisions, the big boys, the top 5 leagues. Without further ado, let's head into the matches. The first match is Hamburg 5, Schalke 3. Well, after a yellow card in the 12th minute, Robert Glatzel scored in the 16th minute for HSV, but 6 minutes later, Schalke responded fast and made it 1-1. Then, 1 minute before half-time, Schalke made it 2-1. And so half-time, Schalke 2, Hamburg 1. Expected result due to Schalke being the favourites to win, and they've underwent a total rebuild since being relegated. So now they're able to challenge again. But then, in the 56th minute and 60th minute, some guy scored 2 goals back-to-back to make it Hamburg 3, Schalke 2. Then, after a few substitutions and a yellow card, Simon Tirode, who was actually playing for Hamburg prior to joining Schalke, scored to make it Schalke 3, Hamburg 3. This must have been painful for Hamburg fans. After substitutions and cards, Hamburg finally made it 4-3 in the 91st minute. Some more cards and substitutions later, they made it 5-3 in the 99th minute, ending the game in the 100th minute. This is counting added time post the 90 minutes. And that was your first game. I really thought that Schalke would be able to challenge. Hamburg has been here for a while, and I guess they have adjusted to the surroundings and basically discovered the cheat code to beat the formula or the game. Yeah, the cheat code to beat the game. That was discovered. Moving on. Next we got another team from Hamburg facing another fallen giant from elsewhere. It's St. Pauli 2, Kaiserslautern 1. It kicked off at 1 p.m. Central European Standard Time. Nothing much happened until the second half, where St. Pauli scored to make it 1-0 in the 51st minute. Cards and substitutions later, Kaiserslautern made it 1-1. Substitutions later, St. Pauli made it 2-1. Not much else in terms of goals. So there you have it. Another fallen giant from elsewhere other than Hamburg gets slayed by a team from Hamburg. Yeah, the St. Pauli fans probably think it's slay to beat a team that was German champions at one point, Kaiserslautern, but now have only recently just been promoted back to the second division. Next match, as Magdeburg drew 1-1 against Wiesbaden, which I'm not gonna talk about. That was a boring game. Next interesting game is Karlsruhe versus Osnabrück, which ended in a 3-2 win for Karlsruhe. Karlsruhe scored really quickly in the second minute. Then, in the 13th minute, Osnabrück made it 1-1. Then in the 35th minute, that same player who scored the first goal scored the second goal, making it Karlsruhe 2, Osnabrück 1. Cards and substitutions later, in the 71st minute, Osnabrück scored to make it 2-2. Substitutions later, they scored to make it 3-2, Karlsruhe, ending the game in a 3-2 win. Oh, and one player was suspended. Not much else to say in the grand scheme of things, other than that Hanover drew with Elversberg 2-2. Fortuna Düsseldorf beat Hertha Berlin 1-0, and Holstein Kiel beat Eintracht Braunschweig 1-0. Hansa Rostock beat Nuremberg 2-0, and Greuther Fürth absolutely steamrolled Paderborn 5-0. That was mostly happening in the second half, but a Paderborn player got suspended, putting the team in a very serious situation. Let's look at how things stand in the table. Number 1, heading with a goal difference, a literal goal difference advantage for Greuther Fürth, having beaten Paderborn 5-0 instead of Hamburg's 5-3 win against Schalke. Hansa Rostock are in the promotion playoff position. Karlsruhe in the top 4, St. Pauli in the top 5. At the other end of the table, we have a struggling Paderborn, Nuremberg, and Schalke. Man, what a disappointing match day for Schalke. I think that they could bounce back, but it looks unlikely at the moment. Matchday preview time, Matchday 2. Next in a marquee game at August 5th, which is a Saturday, St. Pauli face Fortuna Düsseldorf. And scratch that, Schalke are going to be facing Kaiserslautern, which increases their chances. I thought that they were going to be facing some sort of tough opponents. And Holstein Kiel will also play Greuther Fürth. It's going to be a great Sunday for football in Germany. Nuremberg will be playing Hanover, which I think will be an easy win for Hanover due to being one of the favorites to get promoted, as well as having one sensational under-21 youngster. We also have, in other news, Hamburg against Karlsruhe. I think that the following will happen in these marquee matchups. St. Pauli, Fortuna Düsseldorf. I think they're going to draw. I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw, but we never know. Holstein Kiel against Greuther Fürth. I think Greuther Fürth will score 3-0. Schalke Kaiserslautern. Schalke will manage to score 3-0 again. Karlsruhe Hamburg. I think that Hamburg will be doing good and scoring 2-0. Nuremberg Hanover. Hanover will be scoring 2-0. Okay, those were all the marquee matchups. What are your predictions? Tell me in the comments. This was a fun episode to make, as I learned a lot about the German second division. Here are some trivia about the clubs for you who don't know. Hamburger SV participated in every consecutive Bundesliga season prior to 2018-19, which was their first season in their history since the foundation of the Bundesliga to be relegated down to the second tier. Next Next team I'm going to be talking about is Schalke. Now, they have rebuilt their squad after critical mismanagement from their owner, which brought them down to the second division after only spending one season in the first. That was last season. The fact that Werder Bremen managed to stay up, but then they were relegated, that was 11 out of the 16 Bundesliga 2 clubs have won the first division at least once in their history. Fortuna Düsseldorf runs a Fortuna for All campaign where they make all their games free for the season. That's cool. If you want to attend great football, then you should go to Fortuna Düsseldorf if you live nearby the club. And the final team that was worth talking about, or the final teams, there's two, and they played against each other this match day, Hansa Rostock and Nuremberg. Let's start with Nuremberg. Nuremberg would have been the record champions of the Bundesliga besides Bayern Munich. Like, if Bayern Munich never existed, then Nuremberg would be the record champion of the Bundesliga, having won 9 titles. But Bayern, they're just insane in Germany. They're way ahead. So besides Bayern, Nuremberg is the record champion with 9 titles. Nice. And finally, Hansa Rostock, which I've heard had a weird rivalry. Let's check, because I did forget what the team they faced was. Hansa Rostock are strangely rivals with St. Pauli in German football's weirdest rivalry. Oh well. If I made a mistake, which I might have, I meant 11 out of the 18 Bundesliga 2 clubs have won the Bundesliga once in their history, and not 11 out of the 16, because there's 18. In addition, the word Hansa in Hansa Rostock's name refers to the Hanseatic League, a league. It's basically a trade union between coastal German cities of the north. Yeah, I think Rostock was a part of this, hence the name Hansa, but I'm not sure, because I don't think Rostock directly has an access to the sea, but it might have. At least that was what my first impression of looking on Rostock on a map. I do know that they have an access to a river. Well, yeah. That's it. Hope you liked this video. This has been Mahmoud, your host for this channel, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.